It's medieval times. You're the heir to a small kingdom. Your father, the king, suddenly passes away, leaving you with a whole lot of power and a whole lot of responsibility. There's only one problem. You have no idea how to manage a kingdom or its finances. You're untrained. Instead of paying attention in ye olde economics 101, you were busy jousting or, perfecting the trebuchet. So you need to figure it out yourself. But like I said, you're not exactly the sharpest halberd in the armory. So you ask your wife, what should I do with all of this gold? And she says, you're the king. Buy new things. Renovate the kitchen's castle. Give me a new corset. Build a moat around the doghouse. Anything. As long as we keep making money, we can keep spending. The king's treasurer overhears this conversation. She comes up, and this is a little mousy woman. She whispers, I need to show you something, sir. So she leads you to the vault. You've been waiting for this moment. You finally get to see all of your riches. You're ready to dive in Scrooge McDuck style into your coin hoard. But instead, the vault opens to reveal a surprisingly small pile of money. I mean, there's a decent amount there, but it's hardly a king's fortune. So you ask, where's the rest of it? She responds, this is everything. It's all the money. Don't get me wrong, your father, he was a great warrior, but he didn't want anything to do with finances except collecting taxes. He tried once to finance a few projects in his early years, but they failed. That was 30 years ago, and he refused to invest ever since. Now this pile just sits here, losing value every year. And even worse, we're not prepared. If anything happens, a drought, a war breaks out, the winter comes and the White Walkers attack with like an undead ice dragon, and it's like, never mind. What I'm saying is if anything bad happens, we're done. Any day could be the kingdom's last. So you're terrified. You just inherited this kingdom and day one it's on the brink of collapse. Who are you, Romulus Augustus? It was more topical in the Middle Ages. So you ask, so what do I do? You're Lady of the Coin. Do you know how to invest? And the treasurer says, no. Your dad ordered us all to never speak of investing. Anyone who even said the word portfolio faced immediate death. And sadly, we lost a lot of good graphic designers. So you're feeling devastated. You leave the vault, you need a plan, but no one in the castle knows how to invest thanks to your dad's fears. So you decide, what makes a good king? Knowing how to know when you don't know anything. So you set out on a journey to find someone, anyone who knows something, anything about investing. So you hop into your carriage and you tell the driver your plan, and he says, are you mad, sir? Your father always said the only winners in investing are crooks and lucky bastards. It's too complex for anyone to understand. There's too much information out there. It's probably best for you just to give up now and hoard the money that you have. You give him a look and you kick him the hell out. So you call over to a man tending to the stables and you say, hey old man, you know how to drive? He nods. So you got insurance? He nods and shows you his card. Hop it, and you say, we're going to town. So you bend to the old man about your predicament. He says, if you don't mind, sir, I could give you a few thoughts from me old noggin. And at this point, you'd take advice from the horse. So you agree, and he says, the driver you kicked out didn't know what he was talking about. I used to drive for a different king who was quite successful. However, it wasn't always that way. When he started out, he was overwhelmed too, but he started small and learned more and more over time. It's not easy, but it's possible. So you brush off the comments, and you're like, yeah, okay, I bet his dad taught him everything he knows about investing. No, he learned it himself. So you ask, did he have any rules to follow? The driver responds, the only thing I can think of is when he started, he was very diligent about no frivolous spending. You'd mentioned the queen wanted to build all sorts of things. My previous king would work hard to ignore these short-term impulses. Makes sense, you think. But that only helps me save money, not make it. So you ride on further, approaching town, and you decide to stop and talk to a farmer on the way, and he's tending to his crops. So you ask him, what do you know about investing? He responds, well, Majesty, I've only really put money into this here farm, but I suppose one thing I learned here is to never count on just one crop. See how I have multiple crops growing in these fields? Wheat, corn, potatoes, onions. If there's a blight and one crop fails, this farm will still survive. In fact, he says, see that man over there? He's an exterminator. He's trying to take care of some potato beetles causing us some real problems this year. The potatoes suffer, but the rest of the crops are still flourishing. So you say thank you. You decide to go and chat to the exterminator on your way out, asking him, what do you know about investing? He says, I've never personally invested. I run this pest business and my father ran it before me. Something I learned here is pests are like a force we can't totally control. Some years they'll eat away 2% of the crops, other years nothing. But this year's especially bad. More than 8% of the crops gone. Because of this, I'm always recommending grow more than you need, otherwise your stockpile is going to shrink every year. So you thank the exterminator and you hop back into the carriage to tell your driver about the discussions. And the driver says, you know, what that exterminator mentioned sounded a whole lot like inflation. My old king would talk about how every year your cash is worth less and less. You have to beat inflation just to break even. And the farmer, he was talking about not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? No, he had plants, not chickens. Right, but what he's saying about his crops sounds a lot like diversification, buying a variety of different investments to help mitigate risk. And that makes a lot of sense. You think on that while you're riding into town. After arriving, you walk into the town square, taking the driver with you. You see a pauper begging on the street for change, so you figure, maybe I could learn what not to do and ask, what do you know about investing? And he says, oh, I know about investing. I invested once with a man who went by VL. He took my money promising this great return, and it went well for a while, but then it collapsed. I lost absolutely everything. Never again. I'll never invest again. There's no guarantee you'll ever make your money back. And you're a little frightened about all this. You say thanks and you hurry off. You know what not to do. The driver comments on this saying, my old king had a few failures too, but that only happened in the beginning when he was too greedy. Once he started investing in solid blue guild companies, he only ever grew his money. So you nod, move on, and outside the local tavern is a man sitting on the curb. He's messing around with some dice in his hand. He asks, why sir, would you like to make a bet? You say, no thank you. But do you happen to know anything about investing? The gambler stands up and says, I do. You need to invest in the next big thing. It's called gunpowder. I got a buddy in Asia, Marco. You say, polo? No. He prefers horseshoes. But he says everyone out there is talking about gunpowder. It's only bound to go up. Then a few months after that pays, you move all your money to the next hot thing. It's the surest way to make a killing. So you smile, say thank you. You're feeling pretty good. That sounded like a pretty promising tip. However, the driver makes an unsure face and you ask, what's up with the look? He says, well, I'm in no place to tell you what to do, but my old king would say if everyone is talking about a new, hot investment, you're probably too late. There's just too much risk. Maybe a small amount of your vault could go to such things, but only after a stable base, because if you invest everything in gunpowder, there's a chance it could explode. You nod your head and walk into the tavern. You eye down this ancient-looking man sitting at the corner of the bar and go ahead and sit by him. You say, you look like you've seen many things. He says, ouch. You say, sorry, do you have any investing advice? So he nods, he sighs, and says, I was a fool in my younger years. I never invested, even though I had the chance. I personally knew Steve before he started that huge apple orchard down the way, or Bill when he started installing windows in people's castles. I even could have invested in Bitcoin. I missed everything. My advice would be to start now, today. You can't wait until tomorrow or next week or next year. Today. I've seen many men get rich, and time is your best friend in investing. So you nod, sliding $1 onto the bar top to pay for the man's drink. When the barkeep, he gives you a point. He says, Your Majesty, how's the throne treating you? Can I get you a drink? You turn it down, yes, but hey, you run this joint. You know anything about investing? He says, no, I don't invest. Life's too short. I could be dead tomorrow. I'd rather kick one back with the fellas today. You're the king. You should enjoy it. I know I would. You know, I'm thinking, he does have a good point. The kingdom probably won't last forever anyways. Why not just go out with a bang and forget this investing nonsense? That's when your imagination is interrupted by a man smoothly sliding over. He reaches out his hand and says, Victor Lustig, hope you don't mind my eavesdropping, but I overheard you're looking for an investment. You explain your situation, he responds, I have just the thing for you. I've done hundreds of deals in the past, and this one that I'm working on might be the best one yet. It has to do with the French metals industry. Worst case, you're looking at 20x? What do you think? This sounds great. A 20x would solve most of your problems, and that's worst case scenario. But you've built up a little base of knowledge at this point, so you decide to step away and confer with the driver. And he says, I'm sorry, sir, but you've got to be out of your mind. A guaranteed 20x return from a stranger? Nothing's guaranteed. 20x? He wouldn't be at this bar if he could make that kind of money. Victor notices your change in body language and he walks up holding a piece of paper. He says, hey fellas, here's my address. Send a courier if you want in. Just make sure if you're interested to do it sooner than later, yeah? I only take on so many investors. You grab the paper, you leave the bar and see him arguing with the beggar on the way out. There's one last stop in town, the library. So you walk in and see a woman reading Bowhunter's Fortnightly, and maybe she knows something about investing. So you go ahead and ask. You'll ask anyone at this point. She responds and says, well, I've never invested because I simply live off the land. However, I can tell you something about hunting that changed everything for me. I used to just practice with my bow once a week. Every Saturday I'd go out and spend 15 hours straight practicing, but I wasn't progressing much. So I decided instead to do 30 minutes every day. It didn't matter if there was sun or rain or whether I felt like it or not, half hour every day. And almost immediately I saw myself getting better. Maybe you can use that in your investing. The driver then speaks up and says, that sounds an awful lot like dollar cost averaging. My old king used to do this, and he would regularly invest a small amount so he didn't have to worry about where the markets are. So you nod, think about this for a minute before walking up to the librarian and asking, can you give me any investment advice? First she shushes you, then grumpily responds, I can't remember who said this, but I once read, the more you learn, the more you earn. But I've been reading my entire life, and look at me. I could tell you the price of coffee in the Ottoman Empire, but I still just make 5 stones per year. I don't think it's possible. The driver asks, how much do you invest? The librarian shakes her head. I don't invest. I don't think I know enough yet. The driver smirks at you. You're not sure exactly what that means, but you know where the librarian has failed. Education is great and all, but all the education in the world, it won't replace actually taking action on what you've learned. So you and the driver decide to head back to the castle. That is until you're stopped in the middle of the road. A herd of cows is passing through, blocking the way, and they won't move. Sorry, that would have killed in the Middle Ages. Eventually the farmer from earlier walks up and says, "Sorry, fellas. I'll get these heifers out of your way. But hey, I had another thought about your investing question. I don't know if this helps or not, but see these cattle here? I started with only 2, a heifer and a bull. Those 2 reproduced, the lady gave me milk. I ended up putting all that money back into growing the herd. It grew slowly at first. I just had an additional 2 cows after year 1, but it's been 10 years and I'm on track to add 100 new heads to the herd." And the driver's eyes light up. He says, "That's it. That's compound interest." The most powerful force of them all. By not only investing what you have, but also reinvesting profits, you only make a little more in the short run, but in the long run, it booms. So you arrive back at the castle armed with your new knowledge. You're going to start small with what you understand, diversify into large, profitable businesses and sectors. Balance your portfolio for risk, trying to beat inflation and beyond. Make sure to temper your emotions and not be too impulsive. Continue to learn everything you can. And most importantly, you're going to start today because time is your greatest asset. This is a problem you must deal with today. Every day that passes is millions of dollars lost for your kingdom 20 years from now thanks to compound interest. So you start to make a comment to your driver, but he's not there. You go over to the other side of the courtyard and you see him getting in the back of this beautiful gilded carriage. Wait, your driver has his own driver? You run over and ask, "What's going on here?" He says, "I'm going back home to Nebraska." Nebraska? "Yeah, you got it from here." Puzzled, you're like, "Okay, well, what's your name, by the way?" He responds and says, "My friends call me Warren. Others, the Oracle of Omaha." "And who's your king?" He smiles and says, "I'm my own king." He gets into his gilded carriage and rides away. You and your kingdom live happily ever after. This video was made to be an absolute intro to investing. Share it with your kids or maybe your aunt who spends all of her money on Candy Crush. It was made possible by our exclusive membership site, Finova. Finova is like finance under a microscope. Today's video helps you with the basic concepts, but Finova is filled with professionals actively making money and teaching their investing strategies in live calls every single day. No questions are too simple or too complex. So join our community of people pushing for freedom through financial education. And if you use the link in the description, you'll get a 7-day trial for free.